Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We'll get started in just a couple of seconds. All right, all of a sudden. This is a new format for us, so we thought we would test it with our existing base of clients and make sure we perfect it. You should see a chat bar or chat box on your right. Do me a favor, let me know you can hear me. Just punch in there, yep, I can hear you. All right, I can see we're getting a lot of people rolling on. Can everybody hear me? Paul, can you hear me? I'm going to try and find you and unmute you. There we go. Let's do that. And hit requests, view. So Paul, just hit request for speaker. Got folks here. There's at 101. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. There is a chat box. No, I can hear. No, can you hear me? I can see. Mute your microphone. Nope, I'm good there. Got the camera on. I can hear. Tom can hear. Paul, can you hear me? Invite as a speaker. There we go. I invited Paul. Gina can't hear. I can hear you. I cannot hear you or see any content on a black screen. You should be able to see. Paul, you're there.
Yeah, now, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so it looks like you must have made me presenter or something.
I did. I invited you in that way. Let's see what we see live. Enter as Bob at Bob Mangold. Let me see what I see. Chat is currently enabled. All right. On my test screen. I invited Paul. All right, can't do that. There's about a 30-second delay in this, folks. So, Paul, were you able to hear me before?
No, I couldn't hear you or see anything. It was
Really?
just off screen.
So some are hearing and some are not. I muted my microphone. Sean cannot hear. Nope. Black screen. Nope. Nope. Can you hear? I can see the number of attendees. Nope. Don't know if that's new. I don't want to start without people being able to hear. Settings, hype, microphone, blue snowball. Play a test. Okay, so everybody should be able to hear me. I cannot hope. Frustrating. Just having a spinning circle on the screen, cannot see or hear anything from you. Well, that is not a good thing. All right, I guess this is why we're the test, guys. Michael content. I'm going to invite you as a speaker. Michael, can you hear me? This is my fear with this. Nothing I have to do. One request view, Francesco. So Francesco, I opened you up that way. So Paul, you got in as administrator then, correct?
Correct.
So Francesco, can you hear me now? Come on. Now Paul too. I can hear Bob. So some can hear and some can't. Are your microphones muted, folks? On the top of the page, you might see a a toolbar that has a red phone, a little gearbox, and a microphone, you might be muted because some can hear and some cannot. So I can't hear trying a different computer. Just tested my speakers and they're on.
Yeah, Bob, I'm trying to connect on a different browser as well.
Okay.
I'm not getting any connectivity to the meeting room.
You're not.
Mm-mm.
Why? I use the original link from the confirmation email. That's the correct link. And we tested all this out yesterday to make sure it worked. Stop sharing, stop presenting, stop screen sharing. So let's do a screen share now. How about now? I copied the link and went to YouTube, and I can hear from there. Is this being recorded? It is being recorded, Henry. Can you hear me now, Henry? No sound at all. How about if you guys go to YouTube and click on it? Can you hear? No sound at all. I can't have this. This is my fear. I'm using headphones and can hear. Okay, that's interesting. I don't have anything muted that I can unmute on my end. Some people are hearing us, some people are not. It is being recorded, Henry. Can you hear me now, Henry? So no sound at all. How about if you guys go to YouTube and click on it? Can you hear? No sound at all. I can't have this. This is my fear. I had to log in again. Logging in early did not work. All good. Okay. So I'm going to go because it looks like most people are getting or have the ability to listen now. So let's get. Some people are hearing us. Some people are not. It is being recorded, Henry. Can you turn that one down now? Okay.
Yeah, I just got in through the registration link and could hear fine. So it appears to be fine. Pardon us, folks. We are trying a new system, which is supposed to be incredibly cool and helpful, but it's supposed to make webinars much more smoother. But as we're learning, there's always a learning curve.
So that's why we did this one with guys who are already our folks that are already our customers, so that you guys are more apt to deal with this just being on a strange thing. So tell everyone to log off and then log back in again. So that seemed to do it. I can't quite see who did that message, but if you log off and log on again, try that. So let's do this because it is being recorded. Everybody would get a link. One thing to know, you guys are probably hearing me about 30 seconds after I'm talking. So when you punch into the chat box, I can read those things, but it might take 30 seconds, could be as much as 40 seconds to do that. Because it's actually being recorded and broadcast on YouTube, there's about a 30-second delay. So if you ask a question or things like that, you may wonder why I don't answer as quickly. That's why. That's the one challenge that I see, other than getting everyone to log back on or log in and be able to hear. That seems to be the one challenge. Ideally, I would love to be able to take and have somebody who would be able to role play with me. That would be awesome. Francisco, I had let you come in as a speaker, but I know there's a couple steps that you have to go through. So I don't know if you figured that out or not. I would love to be able to role play. That's the one downside to this that we can't do. Or at least if somebody wants to try and become a speaker and role play with me, where would it show me in there? You can request to be a speaker and we can add you in. So if you want to do that, let's try it. If you're open to do that, it helps, especially as it relates to scripting and that, because it's probably the #1 question you guys have asked us. Tell me how to script out lead calls. So if you want to try and role play, let's see if we can do that. Just click the request, and I'm not sure what it looks like on your end, but request to speak, and I'll open it up and let you do that. So I think we're through our headaches. It took us 10 minutes to do that, but we got a bunch of people and it looks like everybody can hear now, so that's a good thing, which is what we wanted. So
yeah, I'm on the
you are okay.
I'm on the viewer from the other end, and I can see that we've got 18 people on the line right now, and okay. I can see the chat and all that.
Yep. Okay. So you can kind of help me administer. You know, you can ask questions, guys. I definitely will get through them to the end. I'll have Paul kind of help administer that. But what we're going to do today is let's talk about what the goals are. This is a little bit different approach. First and foremost, we want to talk about a powerful, unique selling proposition to create, capture, and convert leads, retain clients, and generate referral business. I know that's a mouthful, but this is about a bigger picture. And so it'll take us a little while to go through this stuff today, but you'll get it when I go through it. We want to give you at least 2 systems to generate anywhere between 150 to 300 leads a month and get 75 to 100 people to attend your open houses. We want to show you a high traffic local website with automatic content created, could be as much as daily or weekly, along with a complete social media package that you can use as your CRM to stay in touch with your database and be 100% congruent with your USP. How many of you guys just throw in the chat box for me whenever you hear it? Oops, I got to be careful of this. When you touch things, it's too easy. Throw in your chat box if you guys have a CRM and how often you reach out and touch your clients. We want to talk about how you build strategic referral relationships with local business owners by promoting their business online. And then finally, we want to teach you how to generate more leads in 1 month than most realtors, lenders will generate in 2 or 3 years. Now, in fairness, everybody on this call is either a high-tech video pro member or a buyer leads blueprint member. So you already have some pretty cool tools to do that. But where this will come in and help you guys is on that lead conversion. So what this webinar isn't, I thought we'd start out with this. This is not some magic pill. It's not a click. It's not anything like that. It requires work. The reality of it is, folks, is this is about a business and marketing model that's generated millions of dollars in real estate loan commissions that you can duplicate. And the reason that I know what it does is because it's my business model. So if you stay to the end, you're going to have everything that I did to be able to generate the business that I did. And the reality of it is, guys, is what makes this training different. We use this a lot, right, in terms of what makes all of our training different. And at the end of the day, this is real simple. I got to remember that PowerPoint's always got to stay up. This is an article that was written in National Real Estate and Relocation magazine in December of 2002, or maybe January of 2002. And this was after I opened my Exit Realty office in Scottsdale. There's a couple things to note in there, and that's why this is different. In the year of 2000, I did $23 million in residential real estate. Because I was a lender and a realtor, not only did I do $23 million in real estate, I did $23 million in loans because I did all the loans on it on top of it. I did that with me and 1 assistant. And then in 2001, I opened an Exit Realty franchise. If you can read that on the screen, it says the office earned over $1.5 million in gross commission in the first year. That was the office split of it. And that did not include my production in there. And that's why what made that different is how was I able to recruit, and this is just something that was in the article. It says you have to differentiate yourself. Then consumers will have good reasons to hire you. For example, show them how you can save large amounts of money in areas like financing, and the consumer will remember you. It's in sharp contrast to the typical real estate line when an agency simply says they're number one. So the process that I'm going to talk about today and teach is exactly how I did my business as a producing agent and a producing LO, and how I built a company that quickly. And I've been doing it now, so you can do the math here. 2002, that was written. It was actually written in 01, but published in 02. That's how long I've been doing it this way. Now, a couple things that happened. The unique selling proposition that I've used for years. I'm going to show you what skyrocketed from that point. So you guys already know who we are and what we do, so I don't need to go through that. Real estate marketing the hard way. Anybody who's been around Paul and I, we know we constantly are preaching you cannot keep doing what everybody else does, right? If you want to just do inside the box marketing, you're just going to get inside the box results. That's why the average annual income for a realtor is only $38,627. A couple of conflicting numbers. NAR has a different number. But salary.com is who the lending underwriters use. So if they want to verify what they think a position makes, this is it. That comes out to $14.85 an hour, folks. So if you're happy making about $15 an hour, which in some places might be minimum wage, real estate is for you. So if you keep doing things inside the box, that's what it's going to look like. Now, insanity, as described by Albert Einstein, doing the same thing over and over again and then expecting different results. Well, if we keep doing the inside the box stuff, and we're doing the door knocking and the cold calling and all that other stuff, it's not that it doesn't work, but that's how you get to that $40,000 a year, right? If you're doing what everybody else does, you're pretty much screwed. So the question becomes, is unfortunately, this is where I'd love to be able to have somebody to role play with. But the truth is, guys, what is it that you do differently? And because I can't role play with you, I'm going to do it this way. Now, the critical question becomes, which is more important, lead generation or lead conversion? So throw it in the chat room. I know you're hearing it about 30 seconds later than I am. And let me know which one you think is more important, conversion or generation. Now, I'll tell you what my opinion is. Got to remember to keep that one up. To me, this just becomes math. All business is math to me. Well, if I have to generate more leads, it means I have to spend more money. If I do more leads, I have to spend more time, which means I don't have time to focus on results. Here's what all that means. If I have to generate 100 leads in order to generate one closing, and let's say it costs me, whatever, 50 cents a lead, I have to spend $50 to get a lead, right? Or to get a closed deal. What if I could do that with 10? What if I could talk to 10 people to get one deal? And so for me, it's not that lead generation is not important, don't get me wrong, but the very first thing I learned was I better convert those leads. I better learn what to say. And so to me, conversion far outweighs lead generation. I can do a lot less leads, convert more business, and spend less money and less time. So to me, it's always been about that. For me, it came down to a very personal decision. Do I want to work smarter or harder? For me, I don't want to work that hard. My last year of producing, I worked about 25 hours a week to do just short of $2 million in net commission. So for me, I'm definitely a work smarter, not harder kind of guy. Two people absolutely changed my business. Gary Keller, I actually did meet personally back in 1997. He spent about an hour and a half with me personally. My mother just passed away, and he was kind enough to just really talk to me about a lot of things. But this is before he wrote the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, but I've always been very impressed with him. But reading that book changed my entire outlook on the business. And the reason for that is he taught me about database and how important it was. We keep hearing about database, right? It's always database. Well, the truth is, guys, if we understand the math, you'll get it. And I'm going to go through those details with you a little later. But he had a huge impact on my life. If you have not read this book, please read the book. I encourage it for everybody. Number two is a guy named Dan Kennedy. Some of you guys may recognize him, some may not. I first seen him at an event called Success 94 in Atlanta, Georgia. Dan was the very last speaker after an entire day of speaking. And every speaker that goes to those kind of things is obviously selling something. He was the last guy. Probably half of the Atlanta, whatever the heck it was called at the time, where the Falcons played, had already left. And I guarantee at the end of the day, he had like 5 times as many people lining up to buy his stuff, and I was one of them. And ever since then, I have totally bought into all that. But what he taught me was something called unique selling proposition, USP. And what's that really mean? What benefit do you offer to prospective clients that absolutely and without hesitation compels them to work with you, right? Compel, meaning that being the key word, guys. Plus the providers you recommend and nobody else, including family members, forever. That's what a USP is. You might have heard it called an elevator speech, $1 million question, whatever you want to call it. Here's the question that I would pose to you, and if I had somebody that we could role play, let me see if I can do that. Somebody requested. I can do that. Greg Herman did that. All right, Greg, I know there's a couple of hoops you have to jump through to do that, but if you can figure those out, that would be awesome. So the question, folks, is that, and this is the very first thing that everybody in their business needs to be able to answer. Because if you can't, you don't really have a place to start your business. Greg, you are there. Beautiful.
I am there.
All right. So perfect.
He's not shy either. He's got his camera going.
You go, man. Awesome.
Hey.
So tell me what you offer. You're a lender, right, Greg?
I are.
So tell me what benefit you offer to a prospective client that absolutely and without hesitation compels them to work with you, whoever you tell them to, including family members forever.
The things I tell them, experience, knowledge, and the ability to communicate or to connect, not just on a business level but on a personal level, to make sure that whatever decision we're making is just for them and not just for the good of the company.
Okay. Could we agree, while that's certainly good and that's something to do, that's kind of inside the box? I mean, if I had everybody on here, I'd tell you they probably said the same thing, right? You know, the realtors say, hey, I know the area. I've been doing this 25 years. I love my clients. My clients love me. I return my calls. The lenders, hey, I give good service. I do that, and a lot of that, right?
Exactly.
Does that stuff compel me to work with you?
It's the best I got.
Right. So, okay, because that's the inside the box stuff, and that's really what this is about. So I'll just, not pick on you that way, but do it as we go through this. A USP, folks, has to communicate how their life will be dramatically better by working with you instead of somebody else. So, you want mine?
Go for it.
When you work with me, whether you did it on the real estate or the lending side, I don't really care. I'll save you a minimum of $53,272 when buying and financing a home. My goal is to have you 100% debt-free in 10 years or less without spending one extra penny every month that some other realtor lender would have you spend, and I'm so confident I can show you how to do that, I'll guarantee it in writing. Here's what I'm going to guarantee. If I can't show you how to do it, I will rebate my entire real estate commission back to you at closing, and I will do your loan at what's called a par rate, which is the lowest rate you can get, and I will pay every penny of closing costs that you have in cash out of my own pocket. Based on that, would you want to know how to do that?
Oh, absolutely.
So remember, when somebody calls you, Greg, what's the #1 goal you have on the phone?
Get an appointment.
Right. The only thing that this should be about is getting an appointment. Now, there is another answer to that, right? It's when somebody goes, well, yeah, I would be interested. It almost sounds too good. It doesn't almost sound. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
So here's what I would, because the way that I would do that is if somebody, you could hear the hesitation in somebody's voice, they'd be going, yeah, I like the idea. Well, Greg, here's what I would ask you to consider. If you come to my office and you meet with me, let's say we sit down for 45 minutes to an hour, and you found out everything I just told you was just complete BS. I mean, I pulled it out of my wazoo. I was lying out the butt. Would you work with me?
If you were lying out of your butt, I'd probably shoot you through the door and move on.
So
that's me.
That's perfect. That's actually the answer I would love to hear. So can we reasonably assume that I now know if I can't show you how to do that, Greg, and you're going to shoot me, that I better be able to deliver?
Yep.
So it doesn't make much sense for me to lie to you, do you? Because I know you wouldn't. You're going to either do one of two things. You won't work with me or you shoot me. Shooting, we can figure out the ramifications. If you don't work with me, I work 100% on commission. Why would I waste an hour of my time knowing up front, if I was lying to you, that you're not going to work with me? That doesn't make any sense, does it?
Right.
So can we reasonably assume I can help you do this?
Yeah.
When do you want to sit down?
Let's talk about it.
Right. So that USP, remember, in whichever webinar you came, or whatever product or service of ours you have, whether it's High Tech Video Pro, Buyer Leads Blueprint, any of those, everything we always tell you, the power, your income is dictated by the power of your questions, right? So this is the power of the question. If I can show you how to do that, would you want to know how to do it? The answer is yes. So if this is basically what I do with people when they come in. So I'd say, Greg, sadly for most buyers, this is their plan to buy a house. They want to find a realtor. They shop for a 30-year mortgage. They want good rates and costs, right? You don't want to get screwed, do you?
Absolutely not.
You want to buy a house. You're going to refinance every 5.1 years. It's the national average. You're going to sell every 7.4 years. That's the national average. The reality of it is you're not planning on it. Your goal would be to pay off your mortgage, but the reality of it is we know only about 1% of mortgages ever get paid off. That number has actually gone up a little bit higher now. But you're going to end up retiring with a mortgage, and then what you'll probably do, because it'll be a smart financial decision, is you'll trade your mortgage for a reverse mortgage. Now, I got to be honest with you, Greg, if you want to do that, any realtor or lender in the market can help you. I have to be honest, okay? So when I tell people that hiring the right realtor and lender can make a huge difference, I'm not playing, I'm not playing words with you. At the end of our time today, you get to decide whether or not it makes sense for us to work together, okay? You're in complete control. If all this makes sense to you, you'll probably decide we should work together. If it's all nonsense to you, Greg, feel free to get up and leave. It's no problem. Fair enough?
Sounds good.
All right. So at the end of 30 years, I have two choices for you, Greg. Now, I know the rates are a little bit higher than what they were. I just haven't updated them, and I really don't plan to, just because a lot of people still have that rate. At the end of 30 years, which one of those signs do you want me to put in front of your house? I have to put one of them out there. This assumes you buy a $200,000 house. Which sign do you want up? The one on the left or the one on the right? The red or the blue?
Oh, the one in the blue.
Who doesn't, right?
Right.
See, here's the problem with that, Greg, is what the consumer focuses on is the note rate, which is the sign on the left. And I'm going to give you details and numbers so that you can make an intelligent decision about what you want to do. The number on the right is how many dollars of interest you paid. What's more important to you, Greg, the number of dollars that you pay to the bank or the interest rate on your note?
Well, the total dollars out of my pocket.
So if it's okay with you, the difference in that $275,000, when you hire me, Greg, you have to dictate to me what you want me to do. Do you want me to put that $275,000 in your pocket or the lender's pocket? It's the only decision I'll need you to make today. Fair enough?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, let me keep it in mind, and I can see a nice vacation. So, yeah, keep going.
I didn't even have to ask you that one because I know the answer, right? So what I want you to understand, though, is how banks make money, and there's a purpose for that. One of the things that everybody thinks, hey, I'm going to go to the bank, I'm going to get a loan because they're my friend, they're going to help me out, they're going to do this. Well, folks, I got news for you. The bank is not your friend. It's a game that they always win. Now, before 2008, I don't think people really realized it as much. After 2008, you don't think that people know the banks win now? Hell, you can make all these bad loans, lose billions of dollars, and the taxpayers bail you out. You always win, right? So what they do is they use our money. They pay us maybe 1, maybe 2% in their savings account. If you're getting 1 or 2 in your savings account, please let me know what bank. And then they take and loan it back out for credit cards and cars at 15 to 25%. So they borrow low and invest high. So does it make sense, Greg, that we should probably have you act the same way, borrow low and get higher rates of return on your money?
Makes sense.
So I try to help my clients act like bankers, not borrowers. And what that means is I want to dramatically reduce your cost of borrowing. I want you to have a money plan, and I'd like to increase the rates of return you get on an investment, right? Now, Benjamin Franklin had a saying, those who understand interest earn it. Those who don't are destined to pay it. The average American consumer does not understand interest, does not understand how the banks work, and my goal, if we decide to work together, is to help you understand how this interest works, and I'll tell you the easiest way you can dictate whether or not where you're at in that scale. If you go to the mailbox in the morning and you take checks out, you're earning it. If you go to the mailbox and put checks in, you're paying it. My goal is to have you come out and start taking checks out of the mailbox instead. Fair enough?
That works.
So let's consider these facts. The total cost of buying and financing your home based on a 5.5% 30-year fixed rate loan. If you borrow $100,000, you pay $204 totally back. So you're going to pay $104,403 in interest. Now, this is where I try and show folks the difference in interest rate. Greg, if we took in, let's say your interest rate was 0.5% higher, you'd pay $32 a month. Not that you want to pay that, Greg, but is $32 a month one way or the other going to kill you?
No.
You're going to pay an extra $11,425 in interest, so after paying $105,000, is an extra $11,000 at that point going to make a heck of a lot of difference?
Not over that period of time, no.
Nope. So here's the thing, though. My point in talking to you about that is that what happens is the consumer is so focused on the interest rate on your note, nobody pays attention to the interest rate. So if you remember the slide where I said you decide, it had the 3 little shells. It's called the shell game.
Right.
What bankers and realtors and everybody else does, and it's not their fault, they're so busy showing you what they want you to look at that the banks know you're never looking at that 104,403. So for the beauty of borrowing that money, Greg, the $100,000, you got to pay them 104 back. About what, 105%?
Yep.
So if it's okay with you, my goal would be to take and have you pay maybe $135,000 to $150,000 totally to borrow that money. Would that be okay?
Works great.
So, but I want to show you how else this is rigged against you, right? Because you need to understand what happens. Statistically, everybody in the United States refinances every 5 years. There's a myriad of reasons for it. So let's just take your initial $100,000 loan. You're at 5.5%. We're going to lower the rate to 4 3/4. So you had a $100,000 loan amount. Your payment's $567.79. Your balance after 5 years, meaning how much did you pay it down? You paid it down by $7,539, right? So your principal payments, but your closing costs are going to be $3,000. So, Greg, did you want to write a check for that, or do you want me to roll them into the loan?
99% roll it into the loan.
So your new loan amount is going to be $95,461, right?
Right.
Your new payment is going to be $497.97. You're going to save $69.82 a month. And if you go to bankrate.com or everybody else, you take your $3,000 in closing costs and you divide it by the 70, call it $70. It takes you 42.97 months to break even, right?
Right.
Everybody get that math? Everybody agree with it? I know you do. It's actually wrong. It's not even close to being wrong by a little bit. It actually takes you 530.89 months or 44.24 years to get your money back. Any idea how that happened, Greg?
Divided it backwards.
Nope. And this is where, folks, you got to understand, Greg is a lender now. So the real reason that I did this in my presentations, I knock every other lender. You know how, Greg, you ever had somebody go, oh, Greg, let me have my financial advisor look at this before I decide to refi. You ever had that happen to you?
Yeah, I've had it several times.
All the time, right? So I did this to knock everybody else out. Every realtor, every lender, everybody I'm knocking out right here. Well, it's 530.89 months. Here's the question. Over that 5-year period, you made $34,067 in payments, right? You now have a new 30-year fixed rate loan. So where'd the $34,067 go? You were the bank.
I went to the bank.
You got a brand new 30-year loan that you are, what, $4,500, right? The new balance was like $95,500.
Right.
You're starting all over again. Those $34,000 in payments are gone. They went to the bank.
Okay.
So the question is, when was the last time a realtor or lender showed you these facts? Now, I would put in there, if I was still producing, a financial advisor. When was the last time your realtor, your CPA, your financial planner, or your lender showed you that? When did they explain this to you, folks? So, Greg, let me ask you a question. I know you've been working with Paul Dunn over there at First Priority Financial, and he didn't show you that. Why do you think he didn't tell you about that?
I wouldn't refinance if I knew that.
Yeah. So why do you think Paul didn't tell you that, though?
He wanted to pay for his Ferrari.
One of two things. Either A, he didn't know, or B, he wanted to pay for his Ferrari. Based on that, Greg, should you entrust your financial future to him?
Yeah, okay.
Don't you guys hope I never come to your market?
Guys,
Guys,
you had a refi in town, so keep going.
If I'm a realtor, I say exactly the same thing. The presentation is exactly the same. Listen, folks, you can hire any realtor you want to do that. My team would be my lender who understands this. My team and I need to make sure you know what you're doing with this. So the scripting is exactly the same. There is no difference in it. So now I just bumped all the competition out, right? So Greg, let's look at a different option, and I don't know if this will work for you or not. You and your wife or whatever will have to figure out what you're doing and tell me if this works for you. So the same $100,000 house, same 5.5%. Your monthly payment still be $567.79. You do have $230 a month in taxes, insurance, mortgage insurance. But instead of having your home paid off in 30 years, we do it in 6. You get your other debt paid off in about 10 months. You save $84,847.88 in interest, right? I told you $53,272. I'll be honest with you, Greg, I was just sandbagging on you. So I saved you $84,000. Now, Greg, that money's got to go to one of two places. You or the bank. I'm guessing you want me to put it in your pocket instead, right?
Sounds like a good idea.
Your effective interest rate is now 1.215. What the effective interest rate is, folks, the dollar amount of interest you paid into the loan amount. It's not the note rate, right? So those who understand interest are destined or earn it. Those who don't are destined to pay it. That's why the banks win every time, folks. Now, if we took at the end of 6 years, your mortgage payment plus your taxes and insurance, so call that $800 a month. You invested that for the next 24 years. You got a 5% return on investment. You got $426,984 in the bank. So, Greg, your choice when you work with me is to take and have a house free and clear, assuming you don't do what everybody else does. You own your house free and clear at the end of 30 years, or you own your house free and clear with $427,000 in the bank. Which do you prefer?
Yeah, obviously the 427.
Now, did your existing realtor, so let's do a realtor one for you. Is a realtor, I know that you said you were working with a realtor, have they sat down and explained that for you and put you in this kind of a system or a plan? So the answer is always no.
No.
So, folks, what do you think is best for you? Just working with that existing person and buying the house and hopefully pay it off in 30 years, or doing something like this? Which do you think is going to be better for you?
No, obviously it's going to be this one.
So, again, I told you, you get to decide at the end of this. This is not a hard sell. See, here, Greg, here's what every other lender and realtor can help you do. Buy a house, get a loan, pay it off in 30 years. That's the American dream, right?
Right.
When you work with me, you got 4 options. Option 1, buy the house, pay it off in 30 years. Option 2, I went through. Which one do you like better? I'm not even going to ask. I know you like option 2 better, right?
Right.
But there's another option. It's what we call adult monopoly. Well, if we can help you buy a house and pay it off in 6 or 7 years, in that same 30-year time frame, you could buy 4 houses, pay them all off, live in one, and collect rent on the other 3. So let's say you average, call it $1,500 a month in rent. Is that a reasonable amount in today's environment?
It is here, yes.
Okay. So I now have $4,500 a month coming in rent with no mortgages against them. Do you know how much you'd have to have saved in your investment account at a 5% return to pull $4,500 a month out, Tom? Or Greg?
Pretty close to $1 million.
Yeah, $1.9 million. What are the odds that you and your wife in the next 30 years will save $1.9 million bucks?
Not real high right now.
So that's an option that you didn't have when you walked in the door, right?
Right.
Is your existing realtor or lender talk to you about that option at all?
No.
So what do you like better, 2 or 3?
Yeah, I'd take 3 all day long.
And it doesn't matter to me, folks.
Right.
Here's one thing I know. Any of those 4 options, every other realtor and lender can only do one, option 1. I can do any of these 3, so I really don't care. So when I ask those questions, I don't have any sweat. I'm not worried about what they say at all. I gotcha. Now, the 4th option works a little bit different. This is going to take us a little bit longer to do, Tom, or Greg. It's going to take us about 12 to 13 years, depending on dollar amount, age, things like that. The reason for that is we're going to take a little bit of money that you were using to pay off your house, and we're going to create a tax-free retirement plan with the money that you pay to the bank. So it's going to take us a little bit longer, but let me tell you how this works. At the end of about 12 or 13 years, you're going to have enough money saved in that account that you'll be able to pull it out, pay off your house. And let's say you were a 35-year-old man buying a $200,000 house. When you were 60, you could retire, start to take out $72,040 every year, and never pay a penny of taxes on it. Let me tell you about this investment account, Greg. Tell me if you've ever heard of anything like it before. It's unbelievable. First, it offers a guaranteed rate of return. You can never lose money. It's not a sexy rate of return. It might be 1 or 2%. Not sexy, but you can't lose money, right? So if you remember, like in 07 and 08 when the market crashed and you had a $100,000 IRA and it became a $50,000 IRA, you had to now get 100% return on your money to get back to where you were before that mess started, right? How many places you know to go get 100% return on your money?
Not too many.
So I follow the Warren Buffett rules on money. He's got 3 of them. Never lose money, and never lose money. This gives it to you. It also gives you some upside. So if the markets and things are doing well, you can get a higher rate of return. But the one thing you know, you'll never lose money. if you ever ran into any kind of issue, let's say it was snowing, whatever, you rear end somebody and they sue you, you can't lose it in a lawsuit. It's protected. If you structure it and manage it properly, you'll never pay a penny of taxes on it. You have complete access to the money. You'll never pay a penalty, so it's not like an IRA. Oh, if I take money out, I pay 10% tax penalty. You have access to your money in 3, 4, 5 days. You have complete access to it. You don't pay a penalty fee. As a matter of fact, Greg, if you take your money out, you're going to get paid interest on it twice. So here's how that works. You borrow, let's say, $10,000 out, and you're going to get paid a couple % interest on it. So could you imagine having like a CD at Wells Fargo and you go and close that your CD out and they go, "Oh, Mr. Herman, we just love you so much. We're going to just keep paying you interest on that money." Is that okay? That'll never happen.
No.
Guess what? You get to pay yourself interest back and never pay taxes on it. So you can take and borrow the money out, have access to it anytime you want, and get paid even when the money's out. And best of all, never pay any taxes on it. Have you ever heard of a ridiculous tax-free retirement plan like that?
Never.
Do you want to know what it is?
Sure.
Life insurance.
Okay.
So everybody who's on or listening or ever watches this in the future, there's a book by Patrick Kelly. I believe it's Kelley. I don't think it's Kelly. It's called the Retirement Miracle. I encourage everybody to read that book. There's quite a few different books on it, but he did it in a way that the average person could understand it. So based on that, Greg, which one do you like better then, 3 or 4?
I think both of them work for me.
Okay. So you don't have to decide which one.
Right.
About 9 out of 10 people say I like option 4 better. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But
Yeah.
let's just do that for a minute. If option 4 is what people like, what does that tell you that you have to have?
Cash.
A relationship with a life insurance agent.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Another word for that's referrals, folks.
Yeah.
The other great thing about insurance agents, the insurance companies figured out decades and decades ago that insurance agents or salespeople suck at building databases and managing it, so they manage it for you. So most insurance agents who've been doing it any amount of time have a wonderful database that they could refer you to, just as an aside. So what happens, folks, is when I sit down with people, if all you can do is offer option 1 and I could do 2, 3, or 4, I'll get you every time, right? If Greg says to me, "But Bob, my brother-in-law is a realtor and he's gonna rebate all the commission back to you." All right, I'm buying a $200,000-$300,000 house. I don't really care. Hey, Greg, that's awesome. I get it. He's family. But at the end of the day, can he help you get option 4? Can he help you get option 3? And I get that it's family, but if you have to take and save $1.9 million over the next 30 years because you wanted your brother-in-law to run you all over town and then rebate the entire commission back to you, wouldn't he feel a lot better if he just referred you to me and I did all the running around and help you structure that so he didn't have to do all that work for no money, and then instead of you giving up the $1.9 million that we could take and work together? I think your brother-in-law would probably prefer that, wouldn't he?
Possibly.
Yeah, I'd look at your wife and I'd go, "I know you love your brother, Mrs. Herman, but do you love him to the tune of $1.9 million? And they'll go, "No, don't love him that much. Hell, if you push, I'd even give him a referral fee." So I got 4 options when people are working with me. Nobody on this call, I can promise you, knows how to do that, right? So they only have one choice if they want to do options 2, 3, and 4, right?
Work with you.
I got you. So the question becomes, how the world do we do this? Well, consider this. You guys are going to die when you realize this. An extra $30 a month added to your $100,000 mortgage at 5.5 eliminates 41 mortgage payments. We all know that, right, Greg? Pay extra money on your debt, it goes away.
Yep.
No, it's not rocket science, right?
No.
So if we all know that, why do less than 1% of the people ever pay an additional premium payment? Or not a premium, but an additional mortgage payment or additional principal payment on their loan? Less than 1% do.
Right.
Why don't they do it if they know it?
They want to pay the minimum.
But why? They don't have the cash, do they?
That's how they've been brought up.
Yeah, they don't have the money is what it comes to. Yeah, Bob, I get it. I don't have the extra money, man. Love to do it. Don't have the money. So what I did is I created a 4-step cash flow and debt elimination plan. We call it My Equity Blueprint. I rebranded it in 08 when everybody's equity fell apart. Here's the question, though, Greg. If you owned a bunch of houses in 2008 when the market tanked and you didn't have a mortgage on them, were you hurt?
No.
You were getting your rent check still, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yep. Now, you're on a balance sheet, you got hurt, but now you'd be fine and dandy, right? But your money was still coming in.
Yep.
So we just rebranded it to My Equity Blueprint. I want to help you build equity in your properties to do those options that we talked about, right? So the question is debt elimination a powerful topic or motivator, right? So one of the things we hear all the time is if you want to convert and you want to, sell and do these things, you have to find a pain point. Well, guys, this is a couple years old. I promise the number hasn't changed. 40% of Americans have $500 or less in savings. You think they need help with their money?
Oh, absolutely.
And if you were to help them, Greg, instead of just doing a loan, wouldn't they be more inclined to be appreciative of you than, doing that?
No.
So it's a big motivator for people. So the first thing I have them do, notice I said I have them do a cash flow and debt analysis. I give them an Excel spreadsheet, say, here, do it. The second thing that I do, I give them a checklist of things to do to reposition their cash flow. On average, we can save somebody anywhere from $750 to $2,000 a month in expenses without altering their lifestyle one iota. So let me give you an example. Greg, you and I haven't done any of this in advance, right? When was the last time you went and shopped your auto and homeowner's insurance?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
20 years?
Yep. What if you could save money on it?
I've addressed that with the wife.
Yep.
And she likes the no cancel policy.
Yeah.
She's willing to pay the difference.
Yep. How about cell phones?
Use the one I have because it's the only one of the few that gets a signal in the area I'm in.
So, but when was the last time people go out and do this stuff? Common sense stuff, right? The number one question I start with everybody, and I'll never ask this personally on a webinar or anything like that. When I start, I'd say, hey folks, how big was your tax refund last year? Well, the average in the United States last year was $2,984. It's about $275 a month.
Right.
Then they go, well, about whatever, call it $3,000. Okay, $150 a month. Or I'm sorry, $250 a month. So, Greg, now when they paid you that money back, how much interest did they pay on the money? Because let's assume you did your taxes on time. You got your tax refund back somewhere between 15 and 18 months. So you loan the federal government $3,000, and what interest rate did they give you?
0.
So remember that whole those who understand interest earn it, those who don't pay it? So the IRS understands interest, don't they? Because they borrowed your money, paid you no interest, and you got hosed. Why do you do that?
Because it's the American way.
I guess.
Yeah.
So what if we simply adjusted your withholding? You're not going to get a tax refund this year, but now that $250 a month we could use to pay down your debt. What if we could do that? So what I did is I just created it's like an 18, 19-point checklist that I give to people to go and do. And if you go do it, I can sit down the average, and it's been a few years now since I've sat down and done it. If you made $70,000 a year, I can generally find $1,164 a month for you. If I could find an extra $1,164 a month for you, you would be like thrilled, right?
Sure.
And I'm not going to change your lifestyle at all. So that's step 2. Step 3, I created a software program that will manage all this for you, Greg. Because honestly, I don't want you to have to try and track it. If it's okay with you, here's what you do. You're going to take and put all your data in, and then it's going to take and send you an email or a text message, and it'll tell you what bill to pay and how much to pay. And if you follow it, the plan that we set up for you originally, if you'll follow that plan, you don't have to think about it. Just make the payment that it tells you to make. You'll be debt-free when the system tells you you're going to be debt-free. You don't have to think. You don't have to do any of that. The software will do all the thinking for you, okay?
Okay.
It's going to require a little effort. So before I ever actually sit down with a client, here's how I start out. I go, Greg, before we get started, I'm just totally off topic. I need to hire somebody part-time, and I'm hoping that I can find people that would refer somebody to me because I'm looking for somebody who's reliable. I only really need them to work somewhere 3 to 5, maybe 7 to 8 hours a month, maybe. They can work whenever they want. I don't really care. Do it 3 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter. 1 iota to me. And I need the last thing is most important to me. I need somebody who's going to be loyal and be around for a long time, like 25, 30 years. But at the end of that time, I would have paid them about $1.2 million. You know anybody looking for a part-time job that I could talk to?
Sure.
Who would that be, Greg?
I don't know. That'd be about 90, but sure.
Yeah. Well, it works out awesome, Greg, because the job I'm looking for is your money manager. So who better to do your money management than you? And what I'm going to do tonight, Greg, is I'm going to give you every tool, every piece of knowledge that you're going to need when we work together, that everything I showed you can happen for you and your family. What's the one downside? What's the one thing that I can't give you, Greg? I can't make you do it.
Yeah.
So can you commit to me tonight that the things that we'll do that will make a huge impact on your family that you will do? And I will stick my hand out and I will shake your hand. I will dead stare you in the eye. I would do the same thing to your wife and say, keep his butt in line, would you?
That works.
So that's how I start out. Because here's the deal, guys. What happens if people don't do it? Can they come back at me and say, hey, I never saved all that money. I didn't get out of debt. No, I warned you up front, you're going to have to do a few things.
Right.
Is it worth a few hours a month to handle that? So here's what that means. You have to log into the software and punch in that you actually made the payment that the software told you, or put in the payment that you did make, and then the software will go and recalculate everything for you. That's a buster, right? So I created a whole system around doing this for people, and I don't charge them anything to do it. This is what I give them when they're my clients, right? So I'm going to give you a real-life client. This actually client is about 9 years now. 9 years ago I did this for them. They came in to buy a house. They made $3,432. They had a $505 a month car payment, 4.3 years remaining, had debt payments, credit cards, and whatever it was, about $110 a month, $6,034. Spent $1,766. Their rent was $975, so they had $76 left at the end of the month. Greg, is that a great loan candidate to buy a house?
Not really, but that's the average one I see.
Probably. But boy, you couldn't have said that any better for me. After we did this for them, their monthly income was $37.93, $505 car payment, $110, living expenses, $827. They bought a house. They bought a house in a USDA loan for $125,000. It was $884 a month. They now had $1,467 a month disposable income. We took $1,000 of that $14 and we applied it towards their debt. We put $467 a month of it away in a bank account. If they follow that plan, they'd be debt-free on their credit cards in 6 months, their car in 19 months, and their mortgage 6.5 years. It actually took them 8 years and 7 months. They decided to start having kids, change their cash flow a little bit. So here's the question. By the way, if they took that money then and they would have done it based on that cash flow at the time we did it, they'd have $1,051,751,000. Because they're making more money now, even though they have 2 kids, their projected on their rates of return is about $1.4 million. But just let's leave it at that. So if I wouldn't have helped them buy and finance their home that many years ago, they wouldn't have any of that. So if you help people increase their disposable income by $1,400 a month, get rid of $152,000 in debt in 6.5 years, and accumulate over $1 million in cash in 30 years, what are they going to think of you? For those of you guys old enough to know what this is the original Superman. They're going to think you're Superman, aren't they? So one of the things, I don't have Lynn down here, you might have heard her on one of the calls we were on, she could never figure out why people were walking out of my office crying when they were done with a presentation. She thought I was like beating them up. Do people actually have financial hope for their future if we could help them do this, Greg?
Oh, absolutely.
That's why they're like that. The most important thing, I shouldn't say the most, think they're going to tell somebody else about you and what you did for them?
Oh, absolutely.
So what happens if they say to you, hey, Greg, my brother, I'm sorry to say, just bought a house a month ago. Could you meet with him? He's not in a position to refinance, and if you're a realtor, he just bought the house. Could you talk to him? Would you do it?
You could, but I mean, it become I mean that would become referrals.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm going to get to that. Just bear that in mind. The answer is yes, but I'm going to give you a process that I did it differently. I did it in a group. I didn't do that individually. But here's the thing. I'm going to get into the database part of this in a minute. Here's another side benefit, folks. What's it worth if you were the first person you helped restructure your cash flow and got out of debt? Just ask him. Number 4, this is the one that took me from 23 up to about 42 million in production. Number 4. I started out doing this the old-fashioned way. I needed something to mail to my people for, that was valuable, that they'd open, right? I got the database part, but this is back before the internet was a big deal. So I started going to 2 or 3 different businesses, and every month I'd send out a little, hand-addressed letter, the little double-sided yellow piece of paper newsletter, but inside of it I put 4 coupons for savings at different local businesses. Now the businesses were having coupons redeemed at their business, and they knew where the coupons came from, right, Greg?
Absolutely.
So now I'm promoting their business, giving them more business. Do you think those people might be in a position to refer me some business?
Sure.
Because I'm not a shy kind of guy. I started asking for it. But then the whole internet thing came along, and we started to do this online. So what we did is we created, just call it a deal site for lack of a better term, where we branded it with the agent, LO, whatever.
Right.
So that every time somebody comes to that website, they get to see me. So remember that presentation where I said, hey, here's my 18-point checklist? The other thing, Greg, that I've done is I've leveraged my relationships with local business owners in our market, in our area. And what I've asked them for is to take and provide my customers, you, discounts on anything that they could possibly think of. So I spend a lot of my time working with local business owners, and really what I'm doing, folks, is I'm leveraging that to get you deals so that I can help your cash flow so you can get out of business, or so you can get out of debt. And at the same time, we're supporting local businesses that provide the jobs in our marketplace to our high school kids and our seniors and all those people, so the businesses win and you win. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So now, before you ever go shopping, out to eat, whatever it is, always go to the website, like localsavingsformichelle.com. Don't go there because it's not a domain. I thought of this one last night. So now I have a branded website that I'm now dictating my customers go to get deals from local business owners. Everybody in that one wins, right? I get exposure. You're seeing my name and face all the time, right?
Right.
You'll never forget who I am. Number 2, the local business is winning because they're getting business, right? And my customer is saving money. Win, win, win. So we created these sites to do that, but it gets better, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Understand that what we're able to take and do, remember I said you've got to create marketing that's 100% congruent to your message? Well, if my message is that I can do things differently for you than the average realtor and lender, I can help you get out of debt, and I do things like that to help you get out of debt, I'm going to be in your life for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But why leverage local business owners? Any idea? Why them?
Yeah, they have contacts.
Yeah, they have more than anybody else. They have customers. They have vendors. They belong to associations. They have employees. They have past customers. They're the Mac Daddy of referrals, folks. So at the end of the day, I needed to be able to create something that, and I really did stumble into it accidentally, but when the internet came along and changed all that, right, there was no Craigslist in 2000, 2001, 2002, right? There was no YouTube. There was no Google. There was none of that.
Nope.
So we went online and I drove people that way. Well, guess what? Nowadays we don't have to do it. So, very important point. You have to create marketing built around your USP, right? So I did that, right? We've got marketing that we can do. But most importantly, what if I could get you to ask the questions that I wanted you to ask me, Greg, so that I could control the conversation and the conversion? I mean, if you walked into an open house and said, all right, dude, I don't know what that Save 53 272 crap is, but tell me about it. I got you, don't I?
Yep.
That's a lot better than having somebody walk in and go, hi, are you working with an agent already? So we created marketing. So let's talk about the lead generation systems. For those of you that are on the call that are High Tech Video Pro members, My gosh, wouldn't this look lovely on the bottom of all your videos? Jeez, who would want to be all over Google like that? I mean, and have that on there. Do you think you'll get some calls because of that? So we could put it on videos. Gosh, for those of you guys on Craigslist, do you think you could put it on a Craigslist ad like this? Do you think that might be, you know, buy this, homes for sale 85050 paid off in 10 years? You think somebody might click on that ad? Because on Craigslist, it's about getting the clicks, right? So, just by the way, I don't know if, or no, is this you, Greg? This is you, right?
Yep, that's me.
So your first week, you got, when you said 5 listings, you were talking about 5 ads, right?
Yeah, I picked up 5 listings from realtors.
Okay. So in 1 week, you got 3 leads. 1 is already at the realtor looking for a house. Is that right?
That's correct.
1's in pre-approval. 1's no good.
Right. And then since then, I've picked up 2 more.
Ah, that's terrible. Just horrible. Who wants that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do this when I get to database. What about getting 100 people in an open house? I'm going to give you a domain. Folks, you guys can just go look at it. Listen, it's not a great website. It's a Weebly website. I think I pay $30 a year. I really needed a place to host the videos. Because when I tell people you get 100, 200, 300 people in an open house, they actually think I'm on drugs. So the easiest way for me to tell you how to do that is to make it believable. Go listen to the 20, 25 agents that are on there, and they'll tell you. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, what would happen if we had an active database of, say, 500 active buyers that I could take and invite to an open house? And I had signs like that driving people, right? Not the 3 or 4 little cute little open house signs that we put up, right? You know, Bob at Remax. You know, not that junk. What if I had signs like that to drive traffic to them? Think we'd get more people there?
Oh, yeah.
And then if I had a database of 500 active buyers, right? So like Craigslist, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I get it. It makes me ill when people say to me, when agents or LOs go, I only want the good leads. I'm going to do this in the database. I want every lead I can to get into my database, whether you're ready now, a year from now, 2 years from now, or 10 years from now. So what if I had an active database of 500 users or 500 buyers that I could invite to an open house? Well, here's the good news, folks. If you did 5 open houses and you had 100 people at it, you got a database. Number 2, for those of you guys that are the Buyers Lead Blueprint members, guess what? All those leads, you can start inviting them to open houses that you do this way. So there's a whole system of how we do this open house. What would happen if you had a bunch of listings like this, like let's just say FSBOs maybe even, they weren't even your listings. You put signs like this out and you had them text to get more information. If you use yard signs like this or rider signs like any of these, all those potential buyers. So remember, Greg, I asked you, hey, would you want the brother-in-law who just bought a house, couldn't refinance? Would you want him in your database?
Sure.
My answer is yes, because once a month, this is how I made the money, folks. I told you all, if you've been on any of my webinars, I explained. Paul did his business online. I did mine on seminars and B2B. This is what I did. I did a debt-free workshop. Greg, I would love to have your brother-in-law come last Tuesday of every month. I do at the Marriott Courtyard at Frank Lloyd Wright in Scottsdale, 10 a.m. or 7 p.m. Get them to choose. Have them call my office. Set and reserve the seat because I usually sell them. They're usually filled. Every referral, every lead that I had, every open house lead, anybody not ready to buy, any text writer lead, any past clients, referral partners and their employees, referral partners in the past clients, all those business owners that I would promote. Greg, here's how it worked. If for me to promote your business, I only need 2 things from you. I need 2 people a month that you refer to my workshops on how to get out of debt, and I need you to refer 2 people a year that buy or sell a home through me. Is that a fair exchange?
That'd be great.
I now have a guaranteed way of getting referrals, right? But now I can fill up a room, and instead of having to meet with Greg's brother-in-law, I can do everything I'm going to do in a group. They're in my database, and I'm able to communicate with them all the time. So now I'm building all these leads. So if somebody called, I actually had somebody who is a Buyer Leads Blueprint member. I don't know if they're on there. If you are, you'll probably be offended by what I say. I don't even remember who it was, so that part's good for you. They said, you know what I don't like is I'm getting calls from people who want to rent on the houses that I have listed. And she said, I don't want the rental clients. Greg, what would you say to that?
Actually, two of those three that I have that I've been talking to, they were both rentals, and the two that I've got that I'm calling are both rental calls, and all of them are turned to wanting. They actually really wanted to buy, but nobody would help them to buy.
Wow. All right, so we didn't set that up in advance, did we, Greg?
No.
That almost sounds like a setup.
Send the check to anyway.
So what I said was, so let me make sure I understand this properly. I have somebody who's currently a renter that wants to buy a house in the next couple years, and you're telling me that you don't want to spend a couple minutes to talk to that person, to put them into your database, to invite them to something like this, that you could drip on every day or every week so they see your name all the time, and you don't want those people in your database. Do I understand that properly?
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Doesn't to me, does it? So, if you're an agent, how do we use something like this in a listing presentation? This is for the agents. When I sit down, I say, folks, I'm going to take and use these, just understand, I'm going to use these rider signs. I'll use yellow signs like that if I can put them in their front yard. Understand this, when you list a property, what you're really asking me to do is what's called positioning. We know statistically 84% of all people that move within a 5-mile radius of where they currently live. So if they're driving by looking at that house, they want to buy a house within a 5-mile radius. That means I have to make your house, Greg, stand out from every other home in every other neighborhood in your price range. That's my job. That's what you're hiring me to do. So let's just assume that all three of these houses are on the same street, they're in the same condition, they're the same price, and now put on your buyer's hat, not your seller's hat. We're out looking at properties. Which house will you call on?
Door number 2, please.
So I did my job. Everything that I do has a piece of leverage in it. Just know that. So that's the graphic I use in a listing presentation. So the question becomes, how many leads could you generate and close if you use these systems and strategies? Punch it into the chat box for me, folks. Let me know you're still there. I know it's about a 20-second delay, 30-second delay, but humor me. Greg, do you think that's reasonable, you guys, to generate some leads and close some stuff that way?
Oh, absolutely.
It's just a no-brainer, guys. This is a multi-million-dollar business platform. So let's talk about the important one. I got to remember to. How many of you guys want an ATM? How many want to turn your business into an ATM? Okay? And guys, I'd love to take credit for this. I didn't. This all came from, I mean, I always knew the database. I got all that. When I read his book, and he took all the millionaire real estate agents, he interviewed the top 50 agents in the United States, and the good news is at $23 million, I wasn't even close. And he interviewed them to find consistent or common things that they do to generate the kind of business that they do. Here's one of them. For every 50 leads that you never met, never talked to, they might have gone onto a website. Now, back then, they didn't really have landing pages and any of that stuff. They might have responded to something that you did. You never even met them. And you placed them into your database and set them up on what he calls a 12 direct plan, which is simply emailing or mailing something to them once a month. You'll get one closed transaction for every 50 people. Now, for every 12 leads that you meet, that you do talk to, right? Those Craigslist people, people at an open house, whatever. If you set them up on the 8x8, and I'll explain what that is if you haven't read the book, in the 33 touch plan, one will result in a direct closed transaction, and you will close another one from a referral. So he explained that. He's like, well, why didn't I just say it's a 6-to-1 ratio? And because the reality of it is, you just need to understand that for every 12 people, I'm going to get one closing from them and one from a referral. I have 1,200 leads in a database. I got 100 deals I'm closing, right? Is that right? 1,200? Yeah. No, it's 200.
6-to-1, yeah, 1,200 or 200.
200. That's 200 closings. So, Greg, just using the buyer leads blueprint, just a little bit that you've had. When you ramp that up, how long would it take you to put 1,200 people in a database now?
Oh, not
6 months?
Yeah, probably 6 to 8 months, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Wow. 6 months, we could have an ATM spewing out 200 deals a year. Now, the 8x8 is this. within the first 8 weeks of meeting them, you send them something every week. Whether you send it to them, and then there's a couple of them where you call. Hey, Greg, I was just calling to check in. Did you get this? By the way, do you know of anybody else, thinking about buying who needs to get out of debt? Anything like that. So the first 8 weeks you do that. If they don't buy or refer within that point in time, you do the 33 touch plan. The 33 touch is all it is in the next 52 weeks you touch them 33 times. Some phone call, mostly mail or email. Back in when, the funny part is reading The Millionaire Real Estate Agent now. From 2001, the internet wasn't a very big deal, so it was still direct mail, postcards, recipe cards, all that garbage. So for every 12 people you put into your database, so when you guys say, hey, I want to talk to a renter, somebody who's renting right now, I don't want them in my database, I just go, that's insanity. Now, that's just me. So if we understand the math, the question becomes, what systems do you guys have in place? I've seen some of the things in the chat about how often we do that. But what kind of systems do we have in place to do the 8x8 and the 33 touch and the 12 touch? What if we could automate like 99% of that, and we could keep it completely congruent within our USP? Because, see, here's the thing. In today's world, if you just email out the same crap, I suppose those numbers hold. But what if we didn't do the same old junk? What if we did stuff different? What if we did this, where we had a personally branded site where you promoted local businesses on it and you never had to touch it? The business owner could go in and put whatever they wanted in there for deals, and it would automatically be sent out to your database, and when it was, they get to see you again, Greg. Would that be a better solution than, well, a lot of other things?
Absolutely.
And because it's completely congruent into our USP, it's not anything to do with, oh, give me a recipe card and all that other nonsense, right? Man, this Greg guy is trying to help me save money. Holy crap, I can't believe how hard he works to do that. Gosh, what if we did a video once a month, and I show it's called Bomb Bomb. We'll give you more information on that. It's simply a video CRM that we're going to switch over from AWeber and move all the video. What if, Greg, once a month you went to your little networking meeting, or one afternoon you went out and you just met with those business owners and said, if you look there, it's a 1 and 5 second video, and you did something like this. Hey, Greg Herman here with Bob Mangold over at Bob's Dry Cleaner over on Cave Creek and Tatum. Hey, I just wanted to give him a shout out. I've been doing my dry cleaning there for years. I wanted you to introduce you to Greg. Hey, Greg, tell him how long you've been in business, all the things you need to tell him. Now shut up and let Greg do his talking. Folks, as always, Greg's been kind enough to take and offer us some kind of discount on dry cleaning services. Obviously, we want to help him expand his business, so make sure you take advantage of him. Greg, tell him what you're giving him, whatever it is. Now, folks, don't forget, go to the website, get your deal, take care of it, print it out. Hey, and make sure you tell Greg I said hi. Could you do 4 videos like that in like an hour, Greg?
Yeah.
Now, if you set those up, and like, let's say 1 day a month you did that, and you set it up in your little CRM that went out on top of it, well, there's an email every month right there, a video email. Hey, Greg, because it's not really hard, could you do that every 2 weeks?
I would think so.
So now you got 26 touches in where they're seeing you on a video. And when they're seeing you on a video, you're promoting a local business. Oh, man, isn't that Bob guy nice? B, he's saving me some money. Well, I use dry cleaners. Hell, I might as well do that. That would be valuable information to people, wouldn't it? Things that they'd appreciate.
Right.
They wouldn't not look at your emails anymore, would they?
That'd give them a reason to open it.
Yeah, exactly. So what if we did that? Oh, by the way, what fancy schmancy equipment do you need for that, Greg? Like maybe your cell phone you could use?
Yeah, that'd probably be about it.
Yeah, that'd be about it. And, well, here's the best news of all, folks. They can take and subscribe to a newsletter, and it'll take the deals and send it out. Let's say you decide you want to send it out once a week, and it'll send all the deals out for that week. It'll send them to their email, and they subscribe to it. Do you think if you showed them that in the presentation, Greg, hey, by the way, folks, make sure you go and subscribe to this, like us on Facebook and Twitter. That way you can always have access to the deals that I'm out there, cooking up with the local businesses. That'll all go out automatically for you.
Nice.
Would I create a thing on Facebook? I would. Because guess what? Could you do some things like if you look at there's 1,023 likes on this. That's a database now, right? And it's all on autopilot, other than the videos. But why do the videos, Greg? What do you think? Why do the videos?
Millennials.
Millennials, but mostly building relationship with the businesses, aren't I?
Yeah.
Hey, let's say I stop by once a month and we did that. Hey, Greg, I'll be back next month on the last Tuesday of the month, and we'll just shoot these and come up with some new stuff. I'm in there all the time seeing them, right? I become their buddy. I become their homie. And by the way, Greg, did anybody talk about buying or selling a house? Make sure you're referring them to me. Anybody that'd love to be out of debt, make sure they're coming to my seminars. That's why I shoot them.
Okay.
So now I took control of my referrals. I don't leave it to accident. So let's just think about it this way. If I did that for a business owner, right, and I got, let's call it a 1,000-person database, they're getting some money from me, aren't they, the business?
Absolutely.
Should you expect? The key word is expect, not ask, each business partner to refer you a couple deals a year if you marketed their business that way?
Absolutely would.
So let's say you did 25 businesses. You got 50 referral closings a year. If they don't refer the 2 deals to you, what do?
Move on.
Stop promoting them. I'm in control of my referrals now. I've got basically an autopilot database, right?
Yep.
That's how we do it. That's how I filled up my rooms, right? Because if any of you guys are on the call and you've tried to do like first-time home buyer seminars and all that stuff, never really works, does it?
No.
I'll never forget December 15th of 2007. I had to move my meeting, right? So 2 weeks before Christmas, I had to move my meeting because I had 573 reservations. 390 showed up 10 days before Christmas.
First-time home buyer seminar?
Nope. How to buy a house, pay it off in under 10 years.
Okay.
So all those people that I didn't want to meet with, your brother-in-law, where I didn't want to sit down and spend an hour and do all that, I do it at a seminar. And then I tell them how to do that, and I get them into my database. I make sure they sign up for the Facebook pages and the newsletters and all that stuff. I teach them exactly what to do, how to work inside my database. I have them give me their email so that I can take and shoot the little video of the business owner. And I could get 100 people and do the same thing in the same hour that it would take me to do one. Right? Work smart, not hard.
Right.
See how that's all built around one premise? It's almost a hands-off database follow-up system, but it's 100% congruent with my unique selling proposition, right? Greg, I'm out there every day in the community, buddy, working on local business owners to help them give you deals and help promote their business. So now I'm completely congruent. It's almost hands-off. So how long have we been on? Forget the first 10 minutes. Told you, this isn't a webinar that I can do in 30 minutes. This is a way of doing business, right? So based on what you've seen, you guys can put it in the chat. Greg, I'm not going to ask you because that's always putting people on the spot when I do this. I never do that when somebody does this with me, but I appreciate you doing it. Based on what you've seen, do you think the My Equity Blueprint strategy would help you generate and close more leads by using an unbeatable USP, right? Have you ever heard one better than that, Greg?
No, I really like the USP.
I haven't. I'll be honest with you, I haven't. I've done live events where it was other people's events, and they were saying, oh, I got this guy, and he wouldn't schedule an appointment, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, get him on the phone. And I'll do it with hundreds of people in the room. Get him on the phone. I'll get you an appointment. Because nobody can really say no to that. And the truth is, if they are, they're nuts, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's pretty hard not to do that. Second, by creating a simple, almost hands-free database follow-up system, just based on the statistics in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, would you dramatically increase the number of closings and referrals you receive from your database?
No, absolutely.
And then by promoting local businesses, could you create a reliable, proven resource for referrals from the most connected and influential members of your community? And the answer on all of those, guys, I believe, is yes anyway. So that same thing, it's always a question of investment. The My Equity Blueprint system is a whopping $99 a month, okay? It's a killer. So let me load this for you. Let me load that. I think I got it up. My Equity Blueprint, load. So can you guys see the tab on the side? You can go to mebmembership.com and sign up, or there should be a tab on the side. Did that show up, Greg?
I don't see it.
Paul did it? Load. It says load. Oh, display offer. There you go. That helps to follow the instructions. There you go. So it's $99 a month. So what do we do with it? Let's talk about it. What do we get? Well, it's included. Well, You can have as many client accounts as you want on My Equity Blueprint. So as many clients, as big of a database as you can build it. We're going to give you the cash flow repositioning checklist. Folks, this isn't stuff that you do. You simply teach. They've got to do those things. But we're going to give you the checklist that we know knows how to do it. All the open house strategy, how we do it, the training class, the marketing materials, the flyers, the resources, all that. How do you do it? The sample ads. So again, almost everybody on the call is either a Buyer Leads Blueprint or High Tech Video Pro. Same thing. Let's start inserting that into your Craigslist ads. It's not hard. All of our sign templates, the group presentation and the materials, the stuff that you pass out, how you have them sign up, all that kind of stuff. The actual presentation that you go through. A recording of me doing the presentation so that you can hear it. All the training videos on how you use the My Equity Blueprint software, etc., etc. I strongly encourage everybody to become their first client. All the marketing materials, scripts, email campaign, group strategy, everything that you need is in there. We do a live Q&A just like we do on Buyer Leads Blueprint, except at 9 a.m. Arizona time, every 2 weeks. Because can we agree, Greg, this is not something that you just like implement overnight, is it?
No, it takes time.
This is a way of doing business, folks. This isn't like a program that you plug in and do this. This is a way of doing business. I'll role play on these training classes. I'll do all kinds of stuff. This is about helping you integrate it and integrate it into your scripting. So a good friend of mine, his name is Bill Hillestead. He's the guy who invented Loan Toolbox and created all the content for it. And he always just laughs at me. He goes, dude, you are the most scripted guy. He said, what I really hate, though, is I can never say no to you, even though I want to, because you make me say yes. So my goal is to take, and the reason is because I've said this tens of thousands of times over the last 20 years. My goal is to help you get to that point on top of it. So the whole system is $99. The only thing that is not included in that $99 is the local deals website. That is also $99 a month. But we are going to do this for 3 hours. It's up there. I'm going to give you guys full disclosure. A, you got to be my guinea pigs, and B, we're doing it tomorrow. We're doing it tomorrow, so it's not 3 hours. We're looking for this, guys. We're really not looking for just everybody to say, well, let me give it a whirl. This is about, do I want to take and create a platform for my business that I can convert any lead, and if I'm a lender, I can work with any realtor and help them take and generate more business and be congruent in my scripting. So we really aren't looking for 10,000 members in all full disclosure. So for you guys, it's not 3 hours. We're doing this tomorrow afternoon. We'll do both, all the My Equity Blueprint stuff and the website for $99 a month. So we also always do, you know, a big thing. If you do an annual, it's $699 a year. So instead of paying $99 for both, which would be $2,376. If you want to do it for the whole year, it's $699. We did structure this, though, that you can do that on a PayPal Bill Me Later. So we just have to do billing next year, but we figured out how to do that. And actually I have the wrong thing on this. I have HTVP membership. It's MEB membership because I copied and pasted this. So any questions that I have? That's a lot of stuff. I know that, right? I mean, I get that, guys. I really do. So punch in your questions. Just know you're 20 to 30 seconds behind me. So it's a game changer. I promise it is. And folks, I can tell you this is from personal experience now. Paul's seen me do it. Paul and I worked at the same company. I had my own company, but when all the stuff started with FHA loans and that, I knew that you had to start doing them. I never did them before. Then I had to go work for somebody. You know, I got plenty of people that seen me do this. This is how I did the business. I have write-ups in magazines about it. This is an EIUL policy. It's a different way of saying it, but it could be an index universal life policy, Gina, or it can be done with a whole life policy with paid-up additional riders. So either way.
Hey, Mark Henry just signed up. Just want to let you know. Shout out to Henry. Thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Henry. This is pretty cool, right? Henry, did your videos come out okay? Because we tried to duplicate that last night. We couldn't make that happen. Any questions, stick them in there, guys. As always, you can always call. You know how to get a hold of us. It's actually MEB membership, although the thing should be up on the side for you to do that. But, guys, this is, again, this is not something that you just, plug and play and walk away from. This is a way of building your business. This isn't going to happen. You know, it takes a little bit of learning and all that stuff. I know it's a lot of stuff to dump on you right now, but over a period of time between the training videos, and that's why we do the class, the Q&A every 2 weeks. It will be available on a replay. I think you'll get a link for it because it'll actually be on YouTube, but you'll get a link. I think I set it up an hour from now. Carrie says a lot. I get it, guys. I do. The only thing I can tell you, this is 23 years of the things that I did in my business to do that kind of volume. So I get that it's a lot. That's why we use the, that's why we do the Q&As like that. It's not something I could dump on you and say, do this. I'd love to say I could, but I can't. So that's why we do the Q&As. Can you use the real-life examples? Yeah, they're real-life examples, Henry, so they're mine, but if you're doing it, it's the same program, same process, same everything. When will this be posted on YouTube? Will it be the same link? Tom, the only thing I know for sure is you'll get an email with it, but I think it is the same link. That's why I said you guys are kind of the guinea pigs on this one. How did it work overall? Can you give me some feedback on that on top of it? Was it hard to figure out? What was the sign-up process like? If you could give us any feedback, we'd appreciate that too. But it should be out. I think I either set it up an hour or 2 hours where you'll actually get a link to the broadcast, and it literally will look like this. It's just actually on YouTube, though. It's one of the reasons we like this. It'll always be available on YouTube, things like that.
Yeah, so theoretically it's really cool and awesome, but again, as Bob said, you guys are the guinea pig. And so, yeah.
So
let us know what you liked about it, the registration process. Is it simple and all that kind of stuff.
And then questions on My Equity Blueprint. I know there's a ton of stuff, but realistically what I want to try and do today was to communicate that there's a better way to convert leads. There's a better way to run your business. You can tap into technology to make it easier. But at the end of the day, folks, if you can't answer the questions and distinguish yourself from the whatever 1.4 million realtors out there and whatever number of lenders are left, if you can't distinguish yourself, you're not going to make a lot of money. This is simply a way to distinguish yourself, be able to provide huge value. What you'll find, folks, for every appointment that I ever had, I got 3.4 referrals into my database. They were either a client or into my database before they closed the transaction. So when we talk about building the speed of a database, listen, it's real simple to just simply say, folks, do you know anybody who would love to be out of debt? I don't care if they rent or own a house right now. I don't care if they bought a house yesterday. If I know statistically you're going to refi every 5 years and you're going to move every 7, do I really care? I just want you in my database. If I put 1,000 people in there and they move every 7 years, man, I know I got 70 deals a year coming out of there just on people just purely moving. Forget anything else I do. So it's understanding that if you don't manage that database, and I'll be honest, I travel a ton. I'm out live every day with realtors and lenders, and they all admit I suck at a database. And this is simply a way to take and automate most of it. But here's the other thing that I thought about last night. What I really like about this, like Greg, if you do this and you start telling your customers that you're going to go out and leverage these business relationships that you have, the good news is you have to go out and do that then, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
It forces you to do those things. Now, we may not like to be forced, but that's how we know they'll work. Because now I have to go out because I promised you I would. Well, I can tell you, if you'll go out and shoot those videos and you let them log in and offer a deal anytime they want and it gets automatically promoted, they're going to do that. And now it forces me to do those things. It forces me to get content for that website. It forces me to do that because it'll fill up the Facebook page. Do you think you could take and run some Facebook ads if you wanted, Greg, to build like your viewers of that page? Let's just say you took and targeted on people only in whatever the zip codes would be in your area, and you only wanted to see them, and it didn't matter, renters or homeowners, right? And
right.
Hey, want to save money in North Phoenix on everything you buy? Like our Facebook page. It's a database, right?
It is, yeah.
Guys, you can do that for pennies. So it's a way of doing business. This isn't about, it's just, that's what I said, it's a business model. It is my business model. We're actually going to duplicate this for my wife just to really prove the point. We could take a brand new agent, never really did it, and do it. Now, it's cheating because I certainly can help and I know how to do it. So I get that it's cheating. But
well, most realtors, they have a sticky note or post-it note database, and most lenders, basically their database revolves around who they remember they did the last loan for, or who they left at the last database from the loan company.
Guys, as salespeople, we're horrible at it. That's why the insurance companies do. Listen, salespeople stink at managing a database, so we're going to do it.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to Scott. Scott, thanks for jumping off the rock and grabbing that annual membership.
Awesome. So, again, I give that as a caveat, guys, that it isn't about that. It'll take some time, and you won't be as fluid. But, oh, it sounded so good when Bob said that. You just need to know that has been my presentation in almost that format, almost that exact format for 23 years. It's in me. It's ingrained in me. You could put me up on stage. I can do that anywhere, anytime. It's in there. It's like Prego. It's just stuck in there because that's what I've been doing. That's how I was able to take and do that. That's how I was able to go out and recruit all those agents and do that. Hey, I brought them in and taught them how to do this. And we collectively taught them how to do open houses and that. Go watch that open house. Go to openhousedomination.com. Very few people ever believe we can get those number of people into an open house. In Camarillo, California, now they did it over 2 days, so full disclosure, they did Saturday and Sunday. They had 273 people into an open house one weekend, about a month ago. So I hear that all the time. I hear, oh, it doesn't work in San Francisco. It doesn't work here. It doesn't work there. There's a couple of Asian realtors on there from San Francisco, and I honestly don't remember how much they sold in one weekend. I think it was they sold 3 deals, like sold 3 people that came into the open house. You know, so imagine the purchase price in San Francisco. I think they say it in there, but you know, I hear that all the time. Oh, well, no, that open houses don't work in my area like that. Well, no, not doing what you do, not throwing up 3 signs and oh, I'm there from 11 to 2. You're right, that doesn't work. If you want to go broke, keep doing what everybody else does, and that's that.
Oh, hey, Bob, I got one more shout out here. Francisco purchased, and he is an annual member. Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you, Francisco. So awesome. It was very simple to sign in. Okay, well, that's good. So we know it's different. So, any comments on this webinar system itself? We got to figure out why everybody had a hard time signing in initially, but or being able to hear us, because we did resolve it, but it was nothing that I did. But we really like it because it'll be a replay on YouTube real quickly. It'll be in this format, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't even have the ability to go back in. I suppose I could download it and edit it and take out that first 10 minutes of screw-ups, but we just believe in we are what we are, and we told everybody it was where it's a learning curve. So
I think it's user error.
it could be, but well, we're going to have that no matter what with everybody. So
exactly.
So Greg, any kind of questions that you can think of, because you're unmuted? Any questions on the whole process, or is it just so much to absorb? It's like blah.
Now there's a ton to absorb on this thing. The points that I really like are the database. Absolutely, I've been a database hound for years, and I got away from it, and I can understand what the issue is there. And what's funny is that I did the stupidity. I pared down my database because I hadn't heard from some of these people for 15 years. You got to remember, I've been doing this 28 years.
Yep.
And understanding. I've never gone into the financial end of it. It's rolling in my head right now exactly just how far I want to go with that. But I love the idea. I really do. The open house. We've been playing with like 7 or 8 different ways, and everybody talks about putting 22 yellow signs out for open house.
I'm 100.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
But the bottom line of it is that I got to tell you, I've worked with hundreds of realtors over the years, and I can count on one hand the amount of realtors that have decided to buy in on the fact that they want to put additional signs up or do something else. I'm the one who has to do it. So guess what? I'm going to go get the leads, and that's the whole thing. A good friend of mine told me this a couple of years ago, and I've been trying to play with the system to be able to do it. The keeper of the leads is king of the transaction, and that's what this is all about.
That's what this is. it kind of ties in. I see a couple questions, Gene. I just signed up for the blueprint, literally just at the step to set up the computer. Yeah, it's a little bit of a, what's the right word, Greg? Setting it up, however you said it in Facebook.
Pain in the butt, but you know what? It's worth going through the pain, and I'll put to you this: I've had the Zillow stuff, I've had other stuff, and honestly, for the price that I'm dealing with and what you got to do, you just have to learn how to convert the leads and be able to and talk them through it.
And that's really, yeah, that's really what the answer, because I see like 3 or 4, hey, I just signed up, just started with Blueprint, can I do this a little bit later once I'm up to speed with? Guys, listen, I don't care what you do. We decided to do this because we had so many of you guys asking, how do you convert the leads? And I'll be honest, I always get frustrated trying to give you like gobbledygook, right? Because I know how to convert leads. And I just said, you know what, Paul, this is the only thing I know. Now, there's things I can do a total cost analysis, and I can get through anything. But this is how I know, unequivocally, no questions asked, that I will get everybody who calls, I will get an appointment with them, unless I decide I don't want to work with them. Or it's not worth my time. Oh, I got bad credit. I got to do this, do that. Great. Come to my seminar. I'm going to send you the information. Great. If I want an appointment, I will get you. So my answer to everybody that says, hey, you know, how can I have too many choices? What direction? I just signed up. I got all this crap. I get it. I do. But at the end of the day, yes, it's a pain in the butt, as Greg said, to get your stuff signed up. Although I think Paul's very good and helpful, though, right, Greg?
He is actually a good resource, and it works out well. I will give a suggestion, though, to everybody that makes it a lot simpler. I ran out, you know, we talk about having this thing running on a separate computer, and I got to tell you, and I got to pull it up right here so I get it correct here. The Team Viewer, it's a lifesaver.
It is.
It's an absolute lifesaver. I love Team Viewer. I think that thing's the easiest way. I've been able to do the work from home. I've been able to do it wherever, and it works out really, really well. But I went out, and I have a guy that I've had do computer work for me for years, and he went in, and I didn't spend $800, $500, or $300 for a computer. I went out and I talked to him, and he takes in computers for trade. I had him take spare parts and put a computer together for me for $80.
Wow.
And I've got nothing else in this thing other than just I'm putting in. I mean, I'm going to spend a total of about $120 for this computer, and that includes Virus Protect and everything else that I got to do. And I'm up and running. And like I said, I'm all in for about $700, $650. And I can tell you right now, I got Zillow calling me 3 times a month for a $500 a month to get a couple of leads and to be in the same place. So I don't know about you, but quite honestly, it's a whole lot better.
So hey, I think we have a new spokesman, Bob.
Yep.
Put this guy on the payroll.
Yep. So my answer to Gene and Matt and excuse me, the rest that are asking that question, like where do I, what do I do first? I'm going to give you my honest to God answer. You do whatever. You guys are our clients. We'll work with you whenever. Here's the thing, though. You get your buyer leads blueprint set up. You start generating a couple leads, and you don't convert them. When we don't convert a lead in our business, call it a $3,000 average commission, we make a $3,000 mistake. If we worked at Best Buy and it's a $20 spiff, I'd go, don't sweat it. But the scripting for what this takes, if you implemented nothing else for 6 months, Gina, but all you did was understand how to do the buyer's presentation, then I would tell you it would be crazy not to do that. Because for every lead you don't convert, whatever your average commission is, that's what you walk away from. And I can just tell you, I don't know of anything else, anywhere, anybody else who can convert leads like I can using this. Now, part of it, will I be better at it initially than you will? Yes. Even if you say exactly the same things that I say, why is that? The reality of it is it's just a level of confidence. Because honestly, I've been doing it for so many years. I got so many clients who've done that stuff and helped them, and I know what it does for lead generation or lead conversion. I just have a level of confidence that you're not going to have initially. But the only way to get that level of confidence is to know now, and to start now. It's just the nicest way that I can think of saying that. This isn't like a this is a way of life, not a program per se that you buy. Buyer Leads Blueprint is a program you buy. It's a lead generation system, plain and simple. You kind of plug and play it. Might be a little harder to plug in, but it's a plug and play. This is a way of life. Period. It is what it is. You have to absorb this. You have to integrate it. It has to become you. Because when you can have these things come out, I don't need any of those slides, and I can do a buyer presentation for you. Anybody wants to challenge me, hey, I'll do it, we'll record it. I don't even need the slides. That's how well I know this stuff. So you got to get to that point. How long that takes? You know, I don't know, a couple months. But here's the thing: when we make a mistake on the real estate and the real estate and mortgage leads, we get paid so much a deal. I don't want to screw them up. That's why I did this the way that I did. I mean, when I first got into the loan business, I was a retail executive. I didn't know anything about selling. I went and bought, or I actually went and rented Brian Tracy's, I think it was the Success at Selling system, I believe it was, from the Blockbuster Video in Plantation, Pembroke Pines, Florida, and that's how I learned to sell. Never ask a question you don't know the answer to. Have two answers ready for every possible, or have an answer ready for everything possible. It's Brian Tracy, not me. I mean, I just came up with good answers. But when I first started in the loan business, it was real simple. There are really two questions, and it's really no different today. Bob, what are your interest rates and what are your closing costs? It's no different. For the realtors, what's the address, what's the price? All I said is, hey, I just have to come up with really good answers. And I did. And that's how I was able to be so successful. I just had really good answers. And honestly, I was stuck at about $600,000-700,000 a year. And when I added in the quotient, adding the businesses in and doing that, that's when it all changed. So my answer is, you know, it's not a. This is not a program. This is a way of life. Did that answer it for you? Probably not the answer you wanted, but I don't know. I don't know another way to answer that, to be honest. So there's a lot in here to absorb, folks. I get it. I really do. I don't expect you to absorb it. I just want you to get the concept. Yes, it's available to go back in and listen again. You know, we're going to do it again tomorrow, so you're not sitting on a 3-hour thing. And maybe that is that a fair time, Greg, to do that? By the way, we don't. You know, we're guessing. We love that we can put this box up on the side and say, go here and click it.
No, this is fine.
So,
by the way, I just wanted to let you know that I do, and this is on my own end, but I had a couple of people on Facebook that asked, well, how are you able to get listings and get leads in that? And I called up one of the top agents in my market, and I called her up and I asked her, I said, listen, I understand that you do a lot of listings. And she goes, I do. What's up? I said, well, I'd like to advertise these things for free, and if you don't mind, when I get a buyer, do you mind if I bring them back to you, and that way you can test out just how good I am? And she goes, I don't have to pay anything? Goes, no, you don't have to do anything other than just accept the buyer and work the buyer when I tell you to. She goes, what's your email address?
The power of your questions will determine your income.
Yep.
It's a lot better than what you've been asking them, right, Greg?
Oh, it's a heck of a lot easier than saying, hey, which Zillow account you want me to pay for?
Right, exactly. All right, so we had to right-click the link to watch YouTube, so I'll have to test that out. So, so that's awesome, Greg. Any other questions, folks? We still have, most of you guys are on. So I'll answer whatever questions you guys have. You know, next Tuesday morning at whatever that is, 9 a.m. Arizona time. We'll start that. For those of you that are set up, I should have said this in advance. It'll take us about 24 hours to set up your account and get the sign-in information to you, and then we'll kind of walk you through what to do next. I probably will say, here's the sign-in, go in and start to maybe watch some of the videos, look at the materials, and then connect on Tuesday with us, and then I'll walk you through that. There's a getting started checklist inside the software and all that. For those of you guys that are kind of struggling, hey, what do I do? I'm doing all these things. I would tell you, if you sign up, let's just work on scripting right now. Get the buyer's presentation, download the PowerPoint, download my recording of it, and listen to it. If you're out running, walking, working out, whatever, stick it in your phone, your MP4, MP4 players really aren't, it's really your phone. Stick it on your phone and listen to it until it becomes you. It's really the easiest way. So the buyer presentation, the group presentation, I recorded all those. So all you really have to do is use that along with the PowerPoint. And that is my actual buyer presentation that when I sat down with you, that is what I did. And I did have a PowerPoint, and I did use it that way. So what I just did with you that is exactly how I did it. And, you know, when we do different things, it's how I do it today. How we did it. So, any other questions? I know there's a little lag in there between the time I ask you that and the time you hear it. See, I think what happens, Greg, once we let somebody come in to speak, you now join the same time as us. So now that I know that, was it hard for you to sign to open up and let you speak?
No, it just took a couple of minutes. And once I figured out that I had to click a button on the screen and it wasn't just something else that was there, it was fine. Yeah,
that's why we said that, because can you agree this is much more effective when you role play?
I'm kind of used to role playing. Some of the times it's a little bit testy on it, but you know, for the most part, everything else it actually winds up to be very good, and it gives me. I don't know about the rest of the people, but I know it gives me a better feel for what I'm actually going through and what I'm going to put somebody else through.
And what I like is, now, granted, you guys have already bought something from us before, so it's a little bit of cheating, but I like opening up and role-playing. I don't know these people. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know where they're from. They may think it's full of crap. I never know what I'm going to get, but that's how confident I am in being able to take and do these things, because I've done it for so long. That's what scripting does for you, and that's why these buyer presentations, whether it's a buyer as a loan or buyer as real estate, so I know they're so powerful, guys. I just know what they've done for me and my family. So
I guess really I just want to relay one thing backwards around it is that when you're talking about the $53,272, that's a full encompass. That's going back into the other. That's going into the myequityblueprint.com.
Right.
That's where it's all draining through. It's not just the amount of the $30 a month or anything else. It's just that's all part of it. Okay.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if I want to confuse you on this now or not. I'm surprised actually nobody asked it, so I'm glad you brought it up. Where's that number come from? It's totally made up. You seen a $100,000 house? If we follow that plan, it was $84,000.
Right.
If I told you you'd save $84,000 on a $100,000 house, you'd really think that I was high on something, right?
Right.
They simply cut it down, made it an odd number, and you'd have to get down to about a $60,000 purchase price to be able to say that. So, if, you know, there are markets like Grand Rapids, Michigan, and whatever, where $60,000 is a mansion, and I'm not even joking. But
okay.
So we changed the number. But at the end of the day, it's simply a function of the payments and interest that you can eliminate. And I want you to also notice that I said I'm going to show you how to do it. I didn't say you're going to do it, right? Because the one thing I can't control is you.
Right.
I want you to say, well, no, I didn't do it, so I want all that stuff. No, I told you I'd show you how. That's why in the beginning when I sit down with people, I reiterate, I'm giving you the keys of the castle. I think as a society, we've done a horrible job of teaching our kids and people about money. And so I kind of look at this as an advocacy, to be quite honest with you. And so I can teach them everything. I can give them all these tools. I can create all this software. We can do all this cool stuff. But if they don't use it, it doesn't work. So here's the question. How many people actually do it? The answer is a handful. But if I got you up front, Greg, to say, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I understand that if I don't do it, it doesn't work. And you don't do it, whose fault is it?
Oh, it's always your own fault.
And at the end of the day, I did close my deal, right? Because I gave them everything I promised. If you don't do it, I warned you up front, you probably wouldn't. But that's your problem. It's your fault, not mine.
Right. I'd rather tell them it's your problem, but I get it.
Yeah. So, but no, I know that we get asked that question. It's like, listen, if they do it, great. If they don't, great. But I did everything that I promised I would do. I did for them.
Okay.
So that's how that works. Any other questions, guys? Gosh, ooh, this is one thing I do like on this. It tells you how long you've been on. Not that I'm not thrilled being on an hour and 50 minutes. I'm fine if you guys are fine, but I try not to do that. But this isn't something I can blow through in 30 minutes. You know, on the Buyer Leads Blueprint, you get that pretty easily. This is what it is. This is what it does. Pretty simple. this is not as simple. We get that, but powerful. So, any other questions, guys? I won't keep you on if not. I appreciate you running through and putting up with the headaches and the hiccups and the whatever. And we'll get better at these. We like this platform for lots of reasons. Anyway, so we'll keep experimenting with it. So, all right. Any other questions, guys? I'll give you. I can't do it 3, 2, 1 because there's a delay in here. But if you don't have any other questions, go to mebmembership.com. It's up on there. If you want to shoot me an email with questions, go ahead and do it. You got the number. You guys can call. You know how to get a hold of us now, all you guys that are on this. So, don't hesitate. I get it was definitely a brain dump of, 20-plus years of brain dump. So I get it.
Well, I appreciate it greatly. I've gone through a lot of sales seminars and stuff, and actually, I'm definitely the USP is dynamite, and I'm totally retooling that whole thing.
Yeah, it's good. That's the best I can say. I have ego in there, but I just know on my numbers it's good.
I couldn't tell, but I'm good with that.
It's good. That's one thing I can tell you. I know you can drop me off of a plane, and I can take and get a real estate or a mortgage deal in a couple of hours. By the way, who's the number one? What's the number one business you would attack for referrals? Who can give you the most referrals fastest?
The most referrals fastest, not counting database.
Nope. Business. If you want to pick one business owner, one kind of business, what is it?
Probably life insurance.
It could be, but it would also be a property and casualty. They do property and casualty and life, so much the better, and independent's a little bit better. They have better access to some products. Think about this. The average property and casualty insurance agent has to sell about 40 policies a month. And so no matter what, it's a 500 to 600 person a year database. They've been doing it for 6-7 years. They got 4,000 or 5,000 people in it. About 1/4 of their database are renters.
Yeah.
Would they rather sell just assuming they don't sell life insurance, would they rather have a renter's policy or a homeowner's policy?
Yeah, I got an insurance lady I got to talk to.
So, and you need a good life insurance person for option 4.
Okay.
So, any other questions? Doesn't look like it because I don't see any new ones coming in. So I will go ahead and end it then. Greg, thanks for role-playing with us. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
So, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All righty.
All
Bye.
right, bye.